I would like you to crunch those numbers again.
Hello everyone, I'd like to welcome you to the video titled Real World Problems and Inequalities, and I want you to turn your math book to page 93, get out your math journal and a pencil. So what we're going to look at today is just to solve real world problems by writing inequalities. I know the video previously we were taking a look at equations and inequalities, and now what we're going to do is look at real world situations and write inequalities based upon them. So the first part we're going to look at is writing algebraic inequalities to solve real world problems. Now let's go to the problem on page 94, number 2. And we're just going to talk through this. So it says a ski club is organizing a trip. And it says at least 20 club members have to sign up for the trip to cover the cost of the bus. And it says write an inequality to represent the situation, then state the least possible number of members who have to sign up for the trip to cover the cost of the bus. And it says let W represent the number of members who have signed up for the trip. So we know the number of members as W have signed up must be at least 20. So what you can see here, W is the variable, number of members, has to be at least 20. Now it can be equal to or greater than 20. So the inequality W is equal to or greater than 20 represents this situation. Why is that? The least possible number of members who have to sign up to cover the cost of the trip is 20, but it can be greater than that. So since it's either 20 or greater, that's when you put the line underneath the symbol there. So W is either greater than or equal to 20 would represent the situation. Now we're going to do a couple of these together. So let's take a look at number 1 on page 94. It says the figure shows a speed limit sign on a highway, so we can see 55 miles per hour. So it says let X represent the speed in miles per hour. So how this would be represented as an inequality, it would be X is going to be less than or equal to 55. Now, why is it less than or equal to? Because a speed limit sign shows the most, or shows the fastest that somebody can go. All right, or you can go slower than 55 as well. So that means the speed is either less than or equal to 55. So it says state the maximum driving speed on the highway. So we can see the maximum driving speed is 55 miles per hour, not to be confused with the minimum speed here. It's the maximum speed. So it can be X, the speed, can either be less than 55 or equal to 55 in order to keep within the law. And again, just remember that line underneath the inequality sign represents equal to as well. Okay, so this would be less than or equal to. If the sign was flipped over, it would be greater than or equal to. Now let's jump down to number 3 on page 94. It says, in Miss Morgan's class, the students are required to summarize a passage in fewer than 50 words. Now, understand that it says fewer. It doesn't say 50 words or fewer. It just says fewer than 50 words here. So it says, write an inequality, represent the number of words that the students can use to summarize the passage. Now, you can use any variable. It does not tell us here. Now, what I'm going to use is X is less than 50. So that's going to be the inequality to represent this. Why is that? X represents the students are required to summarize the passage in fewer than 50 words. So this X represents the amount of words. We know it's less than 50. We don't put a line underneath it meaning it's going to be equal to or less than. It's just less than 50 no matter what. Okay, so understanding this, what's the maximum number of words that a student would be able to use? It would be 49. Why 49? Because it has to be fewer than 50 words. Okay, I'm just going to have you do this one in your math journal. It says Jocelyn swam more than 24 laps. And it says let X represent the number of laps Jocelyn swam. Write an inequality represent the situation. So what we're going to have here is X first of all. And it's saying swam more than 24 laps. Okay, so because it's more than 24, it's going to be X is greater than 24. Now we don't put a line underneath it because it's not saying 24 or more laps. Okay, it's just saying 24, more than 24 laps, therefore X is greater than 24. So letter B, they're asking us, is 20 a possible value of X? No, it would not be a value of X, possible value. Okay, and the explanation behind that is because 20 is not more than 24. Okay, so no, 20 is not more than 24. And you can see that in my beautiful handwriting right underneath letter B. No, 20 is not more than 24. All right, let's take a look at number 2. It says the total number of seats in a concert hall is 450. Then it says the number of spectators must be less than or equal to the number of seats. So understanding that whenever we see something less than and then we see or equal to, that means we're going to have that line underneath the greater than or less than symbol. Or you can even think of a phrase at least or something like that means that line's going to go under that greater than or less than symbol. So it says letter A, let Y represent the number of spectators in a concert. Then it says write an inequality to represent the situation. So what we have here is Y is going to be, it says less than or equal to. Okay, so less than or equal to, we're going to have that line there, 450. And you can see how this would make sense because we have 450 seats. You can't have more than 450 spectators because not everybody would have a seat. And then for letter B, is 432 a possible value of Y? And that would be yes. And we have because 432 is less than 450. That would be the explanation behind letter B. 432 is less than 450, or you can think about it's either less than or equal to 450, but we know 450 would not be equal to 432. So that concludes the video on lesson 8.5, real world problems, inequalities. If you have any questions about this concept, please come and see me.